Hello there, Eagles fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. My name is Basil.
And I'm Baz.
And we are recording Monday, October 30th, 2023, the day after the Eagles defeated the Washington Commanders. Feeling pretty good about this weekend, right, Dad?
Yeah, it was a really good game. You know, we had we moved the ball all day. We had some issues there in the red zone. But I would say we got ourselves back on track. I think we're in good shape. I'm a little bit concerned about some of the or kind of injuries we kind of touched into this week. But no, I think we did great. I think it was a good game. It was a very exciting game. I mean, the one thing you can say about the Eagles is it's exciting.
For sure.
We're down early. We're excited. We're getting upset, and then we come back, and then, of course, we finally make a big play. So, yes, it was wonderful.
Yeah. I think it's notable, and noteworthy to say, Washington just plays the Eagles hard every single time. They just play them so tough. Every time you think it's going to be a blowout or we think we're going to destroy them, it's just such a close game. It comes down to the end. And I know this game, like with the score, you look at 38-31. When we had the interception and we went up, it kind of ended it. We went up 14, we went up 2 scores. It kind of ended it, but, it's all right. I know it wasn't a pick six, but it's funny how they play us really well. But we'll go ahead and jump into it. Before we jump in, as always, our overview. We're going to talk about the game, talk about what we want to see less of, what we want to see more of, some roster changes, some injuries, like he mentioned, the rooting guide, and then we'll have a little bit of another segment later on that one of our viewers suggested we should do. But we'll go ahead and jump in and plug the club. We are part of the Philadelphia Eagles Fan Club of Colorado Springs. That is the name of the club on Facebook. Go ahead and go join it. They'll ask you some questions about you, able to join and letting you in. We watch every single game at Frankie's on Powers and Galley here in the Colorado Springs area. But other than that, we'll go right into it. The Eagles, they defeated the Washington Commanders 38-31 on Sunday afternoon. Dad, tell me a little bit about the overview of the offense. What do you think the offense did?
Well, the offense really was not stagnant. Early game, the first drive, we went 3 and out, which is never a good sign for us. And I know we started a downward trend right away. But as time went on, we were down 14-3. We got the ball moving there right before halftime, and that was beautiful. But, we just seemed to be a second-half team. I don't know. And like you were saying with the Redskins or the Commanders, forever we play them regardless of who's good and who's not. It's just a tight game. And, I don't know. I'm not a betting man, but I should start laying some points and some stuff in those games because every team, it comes down to late in the fourth quarter. Even like you said, we were up 38-24 with a minute left. I'm like, why are they even trying to run plays? And, of course, they go downfield and score. And that kind of bothers me, but it's still, once we scored that touchdown, when you went up 14 with a minute left, you knew it was over.
Yeah, you're right about that offense kind of being – we are a second-half team, both offense and defensively. It is kind of funny that what you said, like the first drive, and I know we talked about this off camera, but it feels like we are as good as our first drive. When we have a 3 and out, it's going to be a close game. When we go down and score right away, it's done. Yeah. Might as well turn it off. It's over. It's just funny. Yeah. Every time we have a first drive and we go down and score a touchdown, I'm like, oh, here we go. And then the game's pretty much, not decided, but we get in a rhythm early and it's over. Yeah. But yeah, when we have a 3 and out, or we drive a little bit and punt, or we turn it over, even it always becomes, it's like we're as good as our first drive. But passing overall, Hurts was 29 of 38 for 319 yards, 4 touchdowns, phenomenal. He did get sacked twice. They were a little bit iffy. One of them was kind of rough. And does the sack fumble count as one? Like, does the fumble? I guess it's not because it's a run, so that doesn't.
No, you mean the goal line one?
Yeah, that doesn't count because it's a run. But AJ, he was had 8 catches for 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Devontae Smith, 7 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown. Great to see a game where they're both awesome. I kind of missed that. I felt like we were kind of a little lopsided there with AJ getting a lot, which he's amazing, so you can't even really fight it.
I believe in that game, he was 8 for 8 targets, catches. Right. Same with Smith, 7 for 7. That is uncanny. That's something you don't see ever. So
when targeting AJ and Devontae, he was 15 of 15. You can do the math: 130 plus 99. 229. So he was at 15 of 15 for 229 and 3 touchdowns. Yeah. That's incredible. The running game, really rough game for them. 22 carries for 59 yards total with 1 touchdown. That's a 2.7 yards per carry stat. Not a good one. I want to get your thoughts on Gainwell. What do you have to say about him?
Before I hit on Gainwell, stats of the game running. first half, 1 run, 3 yards. Maybe 6. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that. But, Gainwell, that's the second fumble he's had. He scored last week, which was great. But you can't put the ball on the ground there. You just cannot put it there. And I think, personally, I'd love to see them start. Let's get Scott warmed up for the Giants games here at the end of the season. Let's get him going.
Yeah, I agree. Boston Scott, he's one of the best goal line back. He's probably the best goal line back on our team. Oh, yeah. He's one of the best goal line backs I've ever seen. He got 20 touchdowns in his career on a little bit over 350 carries, something like that. 20 touchdowns, 350 carries. How many of those are in the red zone? Like, how many carries in the red zone?
He gets a lot.
I don't know how many carries he has in the 10 yards and closer. Right. How many touchdowns does he have? Yeah. It's just incredible.
The thing about him is he's so quick to the hole, which is a change up from Gainwell, who's kind of a bounce it outside. Swift can do either or, but when Swift's running downhill, he's through the hill too right away. Yeah. So, it's good to have that kind of diversity. But with Scott, he just hits the hole, and he's small, so he kind of gets lost in those big linemen who are, great at pushing it. And, again, I know we've talked about Cam Jurgens. Hopefully with him coming back this week, we get that rushing game back on target. And nothing against Suapeta, but it just doesn't work. We're just not running the ball. We're not getting the blocking. Now I know the Commanders have a great defensive line, and they're playing that run on us. But the other games that we didn't really run the ball, and they didn't have statistically great defensive line. So this week we kind of knew it was going to be rough, and if we get it going early running, we're in great shape.
Yeah. So, I'm getting a little tired of Gainwell, especially in those situations. I'd like to see more of Scott. I don't know why we're not maybe using Rashad Penny a little bit. I'd say even throw Jordan Mailata back there and to carry the ball in the red zone, but we'll see about that. But I'm really disappointed in Gainwell. Aside from that, he had an okay game with catching the ball, but it was just bad.
But the push, when they went up to line for that push there and on the fumble play, I remember thinking, you know what, we've gone to the well a little too much here. Let's just run it out of a traditional offense. It was only like maybe 1.5 yards, 2 yards.
It was on the 1 yard.
Okay, it was on the 1 yard line. So it was still one of those. I'd rather just let's not do it every single time. It's great, it's fun, we celebrate, but I just think sometimes your law of averages is going to catch up to you, and you got to mix it up.
Yeah. Defense. I thought the defense was a little rough around the edges. However, it did what it needed to do. They did what they needed to do. They had two major clutch, I don't want to say turnovers both times, but one was an interception, one was a turnover on downs, an interception and a sack. Reed had that interception, kind of put the game away, and then Reddick had that interception a little bit earlier to put the game away, or to put the game more out of reach, I should say. Incredible, just clutch by both of that. The offense had 2 turnovers. And Washington did not score after either of those turnovers. That's huge on the defense.
For sure.
The fact that they're not getting points off of turnovers is enormous.
Well, let's remember, the 2 turnovers were inside our own 5. They're inside their 5. So they do have to, still, you're right. If they had scored off of that, that would have been a real knee to the nose.
I've seen defenses on the Eagles that have let up 98-yard touchdown drives easily, and it's infuriating. Yeah. The fact that this one doesn't, I like to see it.
But the other side of it is just like last week. You don't get that touchdown when you're inside the 5. Like they were saying earlier, you do that twice in a game, you lose that game every time.
Oh, yeah.
It's impossible to win that game. So the law of averages for us to actually come out with the win. And, that's the other thing about this team that, you're not going to hear in the national media. You're not going to see it in the list of who's number 1, who's number 2. It's the adversity that they've gone through so far in this season with losing players at the wrong time, pumping players in there, sticking other players in there. And, we're pulling guys off the bench. We're getting guys from other teams, just like this game. We had Roby in there, and now he's gone for a couple. He missed this week. And then we pull in Meyer. What's his name? Byard.
Yeah.
Byard. He come in. It was his first game. Yeah. And the other thing is we talked about Reed.
We'll get into that.
He's only started 10 games. And you got Sidney Brown, who's only played 30 plays. So really awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Jumping over to special teams, Jake Elliott was great again. I don't think he really had to kick that much. He had 5 extra points. He made 5 of them. 1 field goal for 1 field goal. So that's good. Braden Mann, punter, great, best game of the season. 2 punts, 1 for 58, 1 for 59. That's incredible. Yeah. That's phenomenal, dude.
The one was needed. The one he banged was really needed because this is the way the game was sitting at that time.
Absolutely. Covey, my good friend Britton Covey, he had 1 return for 25 yards. It was great to see. Always good to see him get his returns. He hasn't had one the last few weeks. They really haven't been putting to him
it's true.
That much because the defense hasn't been the best, but
Exactly.
they haven't punted to him that much. They're usually punting out of bounds, or he's got a fair catch. We had a great return. What do you want to see more of, Dad, going forward?
Well, and more consistency in the back end of the field, the more cornerback, and maybe just get some more of these players some more time. I mean, like I say, it's just been so many different guys coming at different times that they're not really getting that consistency. That I know you're going to be here, I'm going to be here. We need that. Right now there still seems like they're popping guys in and just hoping for the best, and hopefully we can get a little more consistency out there. And then the offensive line has been a little bit broken up too in the last few weeks. So hopefully we can get Juergens back and get that solid. I know Opeta did go out, and it was Steen that came in.
Yeah, Steen.
And I'm watching the game, but I didn't even notice that. So I mean, that's the thing about these games, that if I can't rewatch them, I can't see that he came in, and so I didn't see much of a difference as far as their pressure on. So it wasn't like he did bad at all. He did great.
Yeah, he only played 6 snaps, and he held his own during those. He did a good job going down. What I want to see more of is really what I want to see less of. I said it last week. I need less turnovers, man. This is bad. I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of it. This is horrible. I mean, you cannot keep winning games when you're at a -2 turnover differential. Now, I know we got the interception, so -1.
Right.
-1 turnover differential, but we've consistently been -1, -2, -4 against the Jets. It's just insane. You can't do this.
Defense not creating turnovers for whatever reason.
But not even that. The offense just needs to stop turning it over.
Right.
It's in bad times. Yeah. It's always a bad time. I'm getting tired of it, but moving on, what else I want to see more of is really, I said it already, I want to see more Scott in the red zone more than anything.
They just need it,
in the red zone, saying you're on the 5-yard line, 1st and goal on the 5, he should get the first carry every time.
Right.
Every single time.
Right.
But going on to how our selected players play, of course, last week and every week, we each choose a player who we're looking forward to in the game. I chose Reed Blankenship. Who did you choose last week?
I chose Nolan Smith. I was hoping to see more of him because he had such a great game previously last week with the sack. It was his first sack of the season. Yep. He did play 4 snaps. He made 2 tackles on 4 snaps. He also got in the way of Covey there on that punt return, but it really wasn't his fault. He was looking for somebody to block, and Covey just came up behind him, so he had no chance there. But
4 snaps?
4 snaps, and he makes 2 plays, 2 tackles. So, I mean, the guy is creating something. You just need to see a little bit of that. Yeah,
it's annoying.
Yeah.
4? Yeah, I can't believe that. But I have Reed Blankenship, who really, in his time, I think we said it's his 10th time as a starter, or his 10th game as a starter, so I should be relaxed. It was the worst game of his career. He seemed out of place, out of position. He didn't know. It looked like he didn't know what he was doing at times. He was getting beat. He was getting burnt. He was getting frosted.
It wasn't just him, though. I mean,
it was.
The whole backside.
It just seemed like he was getting destroyed the whole game. Yeah. He did redeem it with a great interception. That ended the game. So
for sure.
In a way, him and Reddick they kind of ended the game.
Yeah.
So I will have to say he did redeem it. And everyone's going to have a bad game here and there. And like we said, it's his 10th start.
His 10th start. Yes.
I mean, that's crazy. He's dealt with injuries a lot this year. He's missed 2 games because of injuries. So I should take it easy on him. But I was a little disappointed.
Yeah. Well, he owned up to it on Twitter. I don't know if you heard that. He said, I had my worst game, and it'll get better. So.
Yeah. But in the end, redeemed himself with an INT, so I'm happy with that.
Beautiful INT. As a matter of fact, brought it back 17 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, then there was some penalty we never even found out who did what, but we got the ball but the 8-yard line, I believe, and scored soon after that. So
I have the drive chart here.
That was amazing. Yeah, I didn't hear it. We had a few issues yesterday with some of the. I believe the head referee's microphone went out for a couple plays.
It was unnecessary roughness. It must have been something after the play.
Yes, we never saw it though. I mean, that's the thing that drives me nuts.
Yeah. Who do you have going as your MVP of this game? Who is your MVP?
I believe the MVP I have is Nakobe Dean, and I know he only played 69% of the snaps, so he had 50 snaps in the game. He made 11 tackles and 1 assisted tackle, so I don't know how that all works out, but 11 tackles is pretty good. I mean, obviously you don't want your linebackers making those plays, but he plays closer to the line than most linebackers, so a lot of his were running plays where he made a 2 or 3 yard tackle stop type thing. Yeah. I thought he played well. I mean, it's good to see he's kind of being used more. Morrow and Cunningham have kind of tied that up, and they've been playing phenomenally. Cunningham had a great game yesterday too. But
true.
And Morrow, of course, he had 3 sacks last time we played the Commanders, so we were yelling for him to be out there a little bit more. But he wasn't. That wasn't his duty this week.
Yeah.
But no, it was. I'm going with Nakobe, and hopefully this is kind of like his. I don't know, his birthday or his
coming out game.
His coming of age game. So hopefully
something like that.
Something like that.
For my MVP, I'm going with an obvious one. Unfortunately, I'm going with AJ Brown. We like to try to choose guys who aren't obvious, but I got to go AJ Brown.
You have to.
I mean, just we said it earlier: 8 catches, 8 targets, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2 of the best touchdown catches I've seen this year. Probably one of the best catches I've seen in my life. Especially, I would say the best catch by an Eagles receiver of all time. That catch in the corner. I mean, both his catches were in the right corner. That one-handed brought it in together, both knees, both feet in bounds. That was incredible.
No question. He's in,
And, of course, everyone knows, but this was his 6th game with over 125 yards, which is an NFL record. It's never happened in history.
True.
No one. Jerry Rice, Tyreek Hill, nothing. It's never happened.
T.O.
Randy Moss, it's never happened. First guy ever, which is, I know everyone's heard it's been beat to death, but it is incredible when you think about it. And I also shared something on our Twitter, like a picture of it. I showed it on Facebook too. Looks just incredible statistics. He is already the leading, he already has more yards this year than 20 different seasons of our franchise. You're the leading receiver of that year.
Half a season.
Incredible. Unbelievable. He's got more receiving yards than anyone did in 2020.
Right.
For the Eagles.
Right.
That's incredible. It's unheard of. Yeah. It's just insane. But we had some pretty bad receivers back in those days. But jumping on over to our Under the Nest, did you have any Under the Nest plays?
Not really, no.
I've got 2 prepared for us.
Good.
For the offense, starting off with 5 minutes and 38 seconds left in the third quarter, it was 4th and 4. This was kind of overshadowed by one of the great A.J. Brown touchdown catches a little bit later. But Devontae Smith, he pulled a little bit of an NFC Championship game special. Gotcha. On 4th and 4, he had a 17-yard catch for a first down. Was it really a catch? Who cares? It's in the history books. Right. And that's a play. I know a lot of people are going to be mad. Oh, the NFL, they should change it. Well, first of all, the challenge is a thing that was created for people. For that. It was created for that reason. And guess what? 2 times I've seen this happen where Devontae Smith didn't really catch the ball, and the other team's coach didn't challenge it for some reason.
Well, you got to know when to challenge. And that was the spot to challenge. The NFC Championships game was early. Yeah. So maybe you waste it there, maybe lose a timeout. But in that game, at that particular time, and I knew, you knew, boy, the way they're running that line,
go.
You know.
I knew it.
Yeah, and then it's funny because see Coach Rivera yelling at the head referee or the sideline judge, and I'm going, "What are you doing? You should have thrown the flag."
Yeah.
I mean, you have the flag for that reason.
Yeah, it is funny because we've talked about it before. I don't know if we've said it on the podcast. I think they should implement this into their offense.
Right.
I mean, it's happened twice now,
right?
Where we didn't catch the ball and we were running up to the ball. Oh, it counted, and then it counted because we ran a play. I think if you catch the ball, if you go out of bounds and you get 2 feet down, but you're like, oh, it was really fast, start doing this. Run to the line, even if you did catch it. Maybe the other team's coach will challenge it, and then boom, you just made them waste a timeout. Just saying, I think you should do it, once in a while. You should try to see if you can get another team's coach.
Especially when you know you caught it. I mean, Devontae, it was hard to really tell. Yeah. But you could see that thing hit the ground. Yeah. Kind of like that one where the Commanders challenged the call that was incomplete on the field. Once they called it incomplete on the field, and we couldn't really see it, we knew it was incomplete.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. We had one of the guys at the game was behind me there, and we were arguing. We were just having a discussion, and I kept saying, they called it incomplete. Now they have to show that ball didn't hit the ground.
True.
You could see it falling there, but it didn't hit the ground.
True. On defense, I have the defensive Under the Nest play. With 3 minutes and 9 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Howell rolled out to the right, and on his way there, Terry McLaurin, he got away from Reed Blankenship. He was wide open. Howell tried to drop it in front of him. Zach Cunningham got his hand up, knocked the ball down. That was only on first down, but 3 plays later, Hassan Reddick had a sack fumble, and it was a turnover on downs. So, I mean, that's a huge play in the game because if he had gotten that, McLaurin would have got a first down and probably an extra 6 yards. So it would have been a whole different drive. Instead, the clock stopped. They got an incomplete pass.
Did they call that a sack fumble on?
They did.
Okay.
They called it a sack fumble, but Washington recovered it, so it's not a...
But still.
Yeah.
Correct. It was 4th down, so game's over.
It's true. It's over. It's over. Our ball.
Beautiful.
Moving on away from the game, do you have anything else you want to say about the game, or are you good?
Not really. It was just, a tight, hairy game.
Yeah, of course. It's a fun game to watch, but it's not a fun game you want to watch. It's one of those games where afterwards you're like, oh, that's great.
If you knew you won, then you want to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. But during it, you do not want to watch that game.
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
Roster changes before the game. We pulled up Julio Jones from the practice squad. He had 1 reception for 8 yards and a touchdown. Good to see him get involved in the game and get us a touchdown on the board. That was awesome. And then a roster change that I just saw that happened about 20, 30 minutes ago, right before we started recording. I saw it. The Eagles, we acquired a 2024 6th-round pick from the Atlanta Falcons, and we traded Contavious Street, defensive tackle, and a 2025 7th-round pick over to the Falcons. So, okay trade. It got us some draft capital. I think the biggest reason for it is to get Contavious Street out because we need an extra roster spot for Cam Jurgens.
So now where did we get Street? Was he a draft pick? Or?
Street was drafted by the Niners, I believe, in the 4th round in maybe 22.
Oh,
okay. I don't know exactly.
So just a signee. So it wasn't like we were just going for more draft prep, which is great.
Correct. Yeah, let me see. He was drafted by the Niners. Yeah, drafted by the Niners 2018. Wow, he's been around more than I expected. But yeah, so I think the biggest thing is because they think Cam Jurgens is going to be back this week, which I'll bleed into the next topic. Sure. But I think they're going to have Cam Jurgens coming back. They need that open roster spot to have him. So
you see what they've been doing the whole season, moving guys up and down. So we knew when Cam came back, and they're going to need to do something. So we can't keep everybody, but
no. Speaking of Cam, like I said, injuries, it looks like Cam Jurgens could be back. We don't know for sure. It's not official, but I think this is going to be the game they bring him back in, which hopefully that'll shore up our run game, make us a little bit better on the run. Some bad injuries that I'm a little scared of, kind of scaring me big time. Jalen Carter, he's causing some fear with that back injury. Right. They say he's getting an MRI. There's no really new news about it. I've heard some good stuff on Twitter, some people saying that were at the practice, NBC Sports guys in Philadelphia saying he's at practice, he's feeling better, he looks like he's practicing today. So that's good. Yeah. I was a little worried about Jordan Davis too. He was going into the game questionable, and then he only played 17 snaps.
Okay, so well, that's more than Nolan Smith played, but – but no, we definitely need him. And if we could afford to let him rest that hammy a little bit, I'm all for that. I did hear Carter was on the sideline in the second half of the game, standing unimpeded. He wasn't crouched over. He was standing okay. So that's a good thing. It might be just some tightness in the back or something like that.
Yeah.
But no, we definitely need him this weekend.
Absolutely. And then the last one is going to be Hurts. His knee, it's really scaring me. We saw a lot of clips and stuff after the game showing him running down the field, kind of hobbled, kind of limping. It's just a little bit rough. I'm a little scared about that. What do you think?
It's very scary. I know my brother sent me a text and said, look at the game, 3:18 left in the fourth quarter. He said when Hurts threw the ball, not sure what pass it was, but he really didn't put any pressure on his leg as he was throwing it. Yeah. So I haven't had a chance to look at that play yet, but he had just told me it's something to look for. So when you got your scouts out there giving you information, you take it. So
yeah.
Hopefully he does we get through this week and we have the bye, and then we have the Monday night game the following. So they have a nice 2-week plus break to rest it up and get in there. And I'll tell you what, this bye is a great time for us right now where it's going to be. Yeah. You've had teams already that have had their bye 4 weeks ago. Yeah. And that's, of course I don't follow other teams and other players that are injured and who's got a nagging injury. That's really not what I do. But I know what our team's got. I know we need. So we need to get through this game and get the bye.
For sure. All right. Next thing we're going to jump into is going to be talking about the Eagles rooting guide. If it's a little brighter in here, we had to turn the light up. It was flickering. It was really bothering me, so I had to turn that up. But we're going to talk about the Eagles rooting guide this week, obviously, starting with the division. Eagles beat Washington, of course, 38-31. Good to go 2-0 in the division. Good for us. And for another team to go 0-2 in the division.
And the 3-5, I believe. So
correct.
Kind of crushes their playoff hopes a little bit. If they had gone 4-4, they might have had a little gasp in there. But now it's going to look not like it. And I'm kind of glad we're not playing them again this year.
Next, we're going to skip over this one pretty quick. Cowboys defeated the Rams 43-20. I'm pretty upset about this one. We always talk about it. It's funny because we talked before the game. We're like, we heard stuff. Or you were like, oh, yeah, I heard someone say, or on sports radio.
Picks,
said the Rams could beat them. And I told my dad, I was like, the Rams won't beat them. And the reason why is because we need them to. And the Rams, they're one of those teams, kind of like the Seahawks they remind me of. It's a team that I always need them to do something. I'm like, I need them to win this game. Like, please win this game. I'm rooting for them this game. And they never, ever, ever win it. And that's the Rams. I just can't – I really don't like the Rams. They're quickly becoming one of my least favorite teams.
That was a pathetic game. They looked awful. Stafford is cooked. Yeah. He's cooked.
Yeah. The Jets, they defeated the Giants in overtime 13-10 in MetLife. Good to see. I really don't think the Giants have any chance at anything this year, so you might as well start rooting for them to win so that they ruin their draft pick a little bit, but there's really nothing there. The Titans, they defeated the Falcons. The Falcons are still the lead of the NFC South division, so big deal for them to keep on going down. We do need to kind of root for the Falcons or maybe the Buccaneers so that they can beat the Saints. We don't want the Saints to win that division because we need our pick to be better in the second round. The Seahawks, they defeated the Browns. Kind of unfortunate. We pride ourselves on being somewhat Browns fans because my mom's from Cleveland, so we try to cheer for them, but unfortunately they couldn't stick it out.
So they were doing well, too. They almost had it, and then they threw that ugly interception there, and the game was over after that point. I always like to see them go down, but unfortunately.
We just don't like Seattle at all.
A lot of NFC teams.
Yeah. The Bengals nicely defeated the 49ers 31-17. Big deal for us. However, I was telling him earlier on my lunch break, I'm like, hey, man, at some point, if we keep winning, if everything goes well and we keep on the trajectory we're on, we need to start cheering for the Niners because we need them to be the second or third seed so that they're facing Dallas in the playoffs in the first round.
Yeah, they always whack them.
Exactly.
Well, the last 3 years, right?
Because like right now, we talked about, I know everything's going to change. So what it is now doesn't matter. But like if the playoffs started today, the Cowboys would play the Falcons.
Right.
Like that's not what I want.
Right.
I want
it's so far away. It's so far away.
I know. Yeah. So
the 49ers collapse. We had gone off a couple weeks ago when we were back in Phoenix and we went to a 49ers bar. Oh boy, it would have been fun to be there yesterday.
Oh, I know.
Oh, it would have been fun to be there.
Well, it's funny because we talked about we hated that bar. We lost to the Jets while we were there. We hated the bar, the experience, everything was bad. But then we were like, it's kind of funny. Ever since we went there, they've lost 3 straight. So
that's right.
It did a little bit nice for us. Maybe
we left a little mojo there on the table or something.
Yeah. Other thing, not so much division or seed-wise, but the Saints, they defeated the Colts. Again, we want the Saints to keep on losing so we can get a higher second-round pick. That would be really nice to see. I think that puts them to 4-4, which is unfortunately kind of, it's not good enough. I want them wrecked. I want them destroyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was hard yesterday. We really, because our game was so intense, it's kind of hard to really even watch some of the other games that were on. So I didn't do it. Yeah,
we didn't even know the scores of the other games until after that. I mean, usually I can at least, break time of the commercial break. I'll look at the other scores. I couldn't even do that. I didn't even do that. I was just too focused.
Too much, yeah.
And then lastly, this one's not related. This is AFC wise, but because we're in the Denver area, we do want to cover the Broncos a little bit just to kind of help out some of our viewers. I got a friend who's a Broncos fan, and a friend who's a Chiefs fan. Shout out to you, Colby and Lane. It was kind of funny. They were having a good time in the group chat because the Broncos defeated the Chiefs 24-9, which was the least expected thing I've ever expected.
That's like the first win against the Chiefs in I
think it was the 6th. They've lost 16 straight.
Is that right? That's correct.
I'll have to check that.
Unbelievable.
I think they've lost 16 straight or something like that.
But, they didn't just beat them. They waxed them.
They did.
I mean, we flipped it on there late. We were watching a lot of the games late after our game. And, we kind of focused on that game. And, man, they just – every play, every time we saw it, he was Mahomes was running backwards and running into his own players and tripping and falling, and it was just beautiful to watch.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny because we were like, let's watch the Niners game and hopefully cheer for them to lose. Let's watch the Seahawks cheer for them to lose. So we had 2 TVs.
Right.
And then we saw the Chiefs were losing, but at the time it was only maybe 7-3 or something like that, 14-6. And we were like, they're going to come.
The minute we turn it on, they're going to score 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, the minute that we turn it on, it's going to be a pick 6. And we're like,
Didn't happen.
No, we came to it late and we watched Mahomes throw his last interception, so that was cool to watch. But it was really nice to see them lose. I'm happy with that. And good for the Broncos, even though I'm not a supporter. Good for them. Good for them.
You need teams to lose so that the draft picks work out. You don't want everybody to get number 1. So
that's true. We're going to go on to our next segment. This is a segment that was suggested by my cousin, John Vanovich. He put it into our comment section a few weeks ago, or a little bit earlier today, but it was an episode not too long ago. He had some ideas about doing some fantasy stuff. I got some friends who are fantasy fans. They're in my fantasy league, and I'm a big fantasy guy. So we're going to go on to our segment, 3 Studs and a Dud, where we're going to choose the Eagles game only. And we're going to talk about studs from the game on each team and then maybe a dud from each team. What do you have starting off for the Eagles, Dan?
Okay, starting off the Eagles, well, let's start at the top. Hurts, he ended up with 35.36 points with his 4 touchdowns and his 300 and whatever yards passing. So We got AJ, of course, 2 touchdowns, 130 yards. He finished with 33 points. Smith, 22.9 with his 99 and 1 TD. And the dud for the Eagles was, as you can probably guess, the defense, minus 3 points. And, when you're in fantasy, you're always trying to get at least 8 points for your defense.
Yeah.
Just to help, maybe like a bad kicker or something.
They almost lost me my game because it was funny. Johnny in the comments said, AJ won me my matchup. Well, I had AJ. I have AJ Goddard and the Eagles defense, and the Eagles defense.
We'll let you down.
-3. And I was close to losing. But
we were, plus, with Hal being sacked 40 times in all the games. We were counting on 4 or 5. I mean, I did call for the interception. We got 1. I was hoping for a couple. But, you need to get some sacks, and you need to stop him from scoring, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So for Sam Howell, he was the leader of his team. He had 38.98. He had 4 TDs, 1 pick, 397 yards passing. Then you got, Dotson. He had 24.8. And you had Crowder with 22.5. He had 95 yards and a touchdown. And the dud for them, it's not really a dud, but that their defense only had 2 points, which probably because of I don't know why. We scored the points.
They got 2 sacks and they had 2 fumble recoveries.
Okay.
So that's huge.
So, we should have scored those 2 TDs and it would made them a minus 10 or something.
Yeah.
But, studs and duds. So, that's what we got for that.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson's one of those players. It's hard for me to – it's unfortunate that he's on Washington because he went to Penn State, so I'm a big fan of him. But it's nice to see him do well. I wish it wasn't against us, but I do like to watch him play well because he was a great player for Penn State, and now he's a great player for Washington. But he was just uncoverable. I felt like he was open the entire game the other day. But so that's our little fantasy corner, 3 studs and a dud. I'll go ahead and jump on to next week in a loop. We're obviously going to be playing the Dallas Cowboys in Philadelphia. An afternoon game, should be a 4:30 game back there, 2:30 out here in the Denver area. It's funny. I'm the opposite of a lot of fans. People are always, bring on Dallas. We want Dallas. And I don't like it. I get stressed. I'm never excited for an Eagles versus Dallas matchup ever. I'm stressed to the max. I'm terrified.
We've been in so many of these matches, and we've been up big early, and we've had to come back. So it's not like any other game we play during the year.
In the last few years, it's been horrible playing Dallas. I mean, in 2017, we destroyed them. It was great. They beat us later in the season, but we were benching all of our starters to go to the Super Bowl. 2018, I'm pretty sure they swept us. 2019, they might have swept us. I mean, 2019, we could have won one. I don't really remember exactly, but 2020, we did win one game, but it was atrocious. It was horrible. 2021, I'm sure they swept us. It's not been fun. It's not fun at all. I don't know how people get excited. Last year we beat them the first time, but they didn't have Dak.
Right.
And then when we played the second time, we had Gardner Minshew. It was just horrible. It's just not fun. I'm the opposite of a lot of Eagles fans. They get excited. It's Dallas week. I
an ulcer.
Exactly. Stressed to the max. It's terrible, but. We'll be out there at Frankie's. I'm sorry. You're going to be in Chicago. We're going to be up in the air.
Yeah, I'll be flying. Well, I'm flying early in the morning, so I land well before the game starts.
Good. Okay, good. I'm sorry.
Come on, I can't.
I know.
I wouldn't do that to myself. But I'm leaving. I wanted to fly after the game, but it doesn't happen. Because going to a different time zone, unfortunately.
We'll see if we can get an episode out then. We hope to. We're going to be in different spots. We're not too sure how to record in different spots. We're still getting used to, and we're still new to this. We don't know how to do it.
To record one spot's hard enough.
That's true. Yeah, so we'll see if we can do that. I don't know how to split screen it. I'll try to practice it a little bit this week. We'll see what we get, and then you can record your audio somehow.
We'll have the preview episode.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It'll just be the post view, and then the following week's the bye. So hopefully. We can do something, and
we'll figure it out.
We'll get you. We'll be back before Kansas City game. We'll get a good.
Oh yeah, we'll get an episode on the bye. Then we'll get an episode on the bye where we talk about the Eagles rooting guide usually, and then we'll probably do a top 5 plays, something like that. Like as always, but we'll try to see if we can get a recap episode next week. Hope to. If not, I can record by myself here, I guess. But
you'll figure something out
now. But in other, definitely. In other news, the Sixers are looking better. They're 2-1 right now. They're looking pretty good. 1-2 straight. Maxey has averaged 30 points in the first 3 games. He's looking incredible. Embiid looked great the other night. The next time they play, I think they don't play till Thursday, which is a little disappointing.
Wow.
It's a long break. Yeah, because they don't play till Thursday. Play against the Raptors again in Philly. I think that's the Philly home opener. No, they had to have played in Philly already, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Well, was that
Yeah.
the local game home?
Yeah, they just played in Philly against Portland.
Okay.
So they're going to be playing in Philly again against the Raptors. I don't know why they need that long of a break for NBA.
No, it's just getting it started, I guess.
But they're 2-1. They're looking pretty good. The Flyers, they are looking, like I said last time, they're 4-3-1, I believe. Still looking okay. They are playing the Hurricanes right now, tied 2-2. Let me see. Make sure that I'm right.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 4-3-1. So go to 5-3-1. Maybe next week I'll wear my Flyer shirt that I just bought when I was in Philly. It's my first Flyer shirt I think I've ever had.
Yeah, probably.
I've never really had many. Other than that, not really many sports going on. The MLS, the Union, they'll be playing next week, I believe. No, I think they're playing like a Sunday or something like that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's weird because when I looked it up, it wasn't the same. I don't think it was the same date as I don't even think it was the day before the Eagles game.
Well, it's playoffs, so
yeah, they don't play till November 8th?
it's strange.
Yeah, they don't play again until November 8th, which I think is like a Thursday.
Tuesday or Wednesday, yeah.
I think it's a Wednesday. You're right.
Yeah,
It's a
okay.
Wednesday, which is weird.
I mean, MLS is a Wednesday night.
They started doing that. That's true. They did, but they're in the playoffs now.
Season.
It's weird. They're in the playoffs. You'd think they'd be a little bit quicker with
Weekly,
their
yeah.
weekly, but or with like in between 5 days in between. But
Right.
They play a lot more. They take a lot more break, but. Other than that, we got to get out of here because we got to go watch the NFL game on right now. The Lions and Raiders are playing, so we're going to go watch that game. So we're going to jump off here, but we'll say our goodbyes. If you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, if you don't, please do. If you do, thank you very much for following. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. You can email us your questions at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com, or you can comment down below any questions or comments or anything you want us to do, want us to say, want us to try out. Thank you again, Johnny Danovich, for giving us that suggestion. I really like fantasy, so that's a really good idea. But other than that, from us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
And fly, Eagles, fly.